The time I left the service station without paying one day, that was a shock to me as well. I was out at Sue and Ron Cotton, who were my ex-brother and sister-in-law, great friends of mine still. We bought a flat in Northcote. Sue and I had to go to a corporate meeting at Northcote. On the way back at Glen Waverley, I thought I'd better get some fuel. So I pulled in and filled the car up. Went to hit my pocket for my wallet and discovered I'd lost my wallet. Wow, panic station, I didn't know what to do. And in the panic of losing my wallet, I just drove off. Never gave it a thought. I got all the way to Belgrave South and the phone in the house rings. I pick up, it's the Glen Waverley police. Hey, what's the excuse and I'm paying? I went, oh my God, I forgot I even got the petrol. So I had half an hour to get back to the Glen Waverley. They were going to come and arrest me for theft. So I flew back there and had to borrow some money to pay for it. And a footnote to that was the next day at work, I got a phone call from another state bank. They'd found my wallet. Someone had handed it in Northcote. And it was all the money and everything was still in it. And they posted it back to me.
Fantastic. Starting with the time you found a briefcase with about $5,000.
Oh yeah, that's right. Ros and I were shopping one day at, I think it was Waverley Gardens shopping centre. And in those days there was trolleys all around the car park. And I pulled in, there was a trolley just next to the car. So I pushed the trolley and there was a brown paper bag lying at the bottom. So typical me, I was going to chuck it out. Picked it up, it was heavy. I tore the bag open and there was $150 bills piled up in rubber bands. I nearly had a heart attack. And I said to Ros, oh God, what do we do with this? I said, we could certainly afford it. We could use it, we were flat broke. But because I worked in the bank, I thought, oh, I can't, it's not mine, I can't take it. So it turned out to be quite a few $1,000. So we took it into the office, and a week or so later, I got a phone call from a jeweller's shop. And his wife was doing the banking, and she forgot and left it in the trolley. And I was so grateful. I think they gave us a couple of $100 and said to Rosalind, any jewellery, cleaned, repaired for life. So she took all the stuff in there. So we felt quite good about handing it in after that. I'll just briefly tell you a story about Pop used to have his Clydesdale plough the fields amongst the veggie. So he'd grow a cabbage, say, there, and the next one there. So when the horse walked, he'd step over that cabbage and wouldn't touch him. So he had somewhere to put his feet. So Pop used to plough the weeds and Dole used to step over them. But us kids would hide in a bush hedge at the end of the first row. And she'd come up there, we'd go, wah! And scare her because she'd go like that and kill half a dozen cabbages. Wow, he used to go crook. You can never understand why poor old Dole went like that because kids used to frighten her. So I always loved Clydesdale from then. And because I had all that cinnamon, I had all this land up there, so I bought myself one. And old Dozer was his name, and he was a lovely old fella. And then eventually I bought myself a cart. So I was collecting them all up to the cart, and Darcy and I used to go around on a Sunday, big long rides on the horse and cart. And unfortunately with the drought, we couldn't feed him any longer. No matter what food you put in him, he lost that much weight. It was unfair. So I finally brought him to Victoria and gave him to somebody who could look after him with the grass. And just recently I've sold the cart. But it was a wonderful 3 or 4 years. And that's actually when I discovered I was becoming ill, because I couldn't lift the chains and all the saddles up on his back. I was getting weak and I couldn't understand it. So that's when it first happened. But that was a great time, and thinking of my old grandpa, and it was me, the old grandpa, sitting up there.